Rain hammered the streets of Hong Kong as neon lights reflected across the wet pavement like shattered glass. Cars rushed through puddles while crowds hurried under umbrellas, desperate to escape the storm before it became worse. The city was alive with noise, vendors shouting from food stalls, distant music from old restaurants, and thunder shaking the sky above the crowded buildings. But hidden beneath the glowing lights were places filled with fear, narrow alleys where criminals gathered, underground gambling dens where desperate men lost everything. Streets controlled by dangerous people nobody dared challenge. Most citizens kept their eyes down and walked quickly, knowing trouble could appear at any moment. On nights like this, fear ruled the city more than the rain itself. Near one dark alley behind an old restaurant stood a little girl no older than 8 years old. Her clothes were soaked, and her trembling hands clutched a paper bag tightly against her chest. Inside the bag was medicine for her sick mother waiting at home. She had been trying to hurry back through the storm, but now she was trapped. Blocking her path was a giant man wearing a dark leather jacket covered in rainwater. Thick scars marked his face, and tattoos wrapped around his fists. His cold eyes stared down at the frightened child without mercy. Everyone nearby recognized him immediately. His name was Victor, an underground enforcer feared throughout Hong Kong's criminal world. Rumors about him spread through every district in the city. Some claimed he once broke a fighter's arm during an illegal match and laughed, while the man screamed in pain. Others said he collected debts for gangsters by beating people in public to terrify entire neighborhoods. Whether the stories were true no longer mattered because his reputation alone was enough to make people afraid. "You bumped into me," Victor growled at the little girl as thunder echoed above them. His deep voice made her flinch instantly. "I'm sorry," she whispered, barely able to speak through fear. Tears mixed with rain on her face while she stared at the ground. Victor suddenly grabbed the paper bag from her hands and threw it onto the pavement. Glass medicine bottles crashed against the wet concrete. The little girl gasped in horror before dropping to her knees, desperately trying to save the medicine before rainwater ruined everything. Nearby pedestrians slowed for a brief moment, watching nervously from the sidewalk, but nobody stepped forward to help her. A businessman quickly turned away and pretended not to notice. Two young men smoking cigarettes quietly disappeared into a nearby shop. Even the restaurant owner behind the alley slowly locked his door after seeing Victor. Fear controlled everyone. Nobody wanted to become Victor's next victim. Then suddenly, another figure entered the street through the heavy rain. A man dressed in black walked calmly toward the alley with silent footsteps. He wasn't large or heavily muscular like Victor. He carried no weapon. Yet the atmosphere changed immediately the moment people recognized him. Whispers spread through the crowd almost instantly. "Is that Bruce Lee?" someone whispered nervously. "It can't be," another voice replied, but it was him. Bruce Lee slowly stopped walking when he noticed the frightened little girl kneeling in the rain. Water dripped from his dark jacket while his calm eyes studied the situation silently. Bruce Lee had spent years understanding people. Martial arts to him were never about violence alone. They were about awareness, discipline, timing, and protecting others. He believed true strength meant controlling power instead of abusing it. The moment Bruce saw fear in the little girl's eyes, he understood exactly what kind of man Victor was. Bruce quietly walked into the alley while the crowd watched in complete silence. He bent down calmly and picked up one of the medicine bottles from the wet pavement before gently handing it back to the little girl. "You should go home," Bruce said softly. The little girl stared at him with hopeful eyes, but before she could move, Victor stepped forward aggressively. "She's not going anywhere," Victor growled. Bruce slowly stood up and faced the giant man. The difference in size between them was obvious. Victor towered over Bruce like a heavyweight fighter. Some people in the crowd nervously whispered to each other, wondering if even Bruce Lee could handle someone so massive. Victor cracked his knuckles loudly and smirked. "So the famous Bruce Lee wants to play hero tonight?" he mocked,